back. This is Black and Brown in the Woods, where we take you outside to heal inside. Join us on this journey as we dive a little deeper, right? And this is an inspiring journey where we highlight creators, leaders, impact heroes, sheroes, and folks that just provide impact to our community. Last time I had an amazing guest. This time I have another amazing guest. And you know what? The great thing about this is how the world works, right? And how things move. And this guest today, I am bringing into the room who, as y'all know, I'm on a mission. I've been on a mission for the last year to heal folks. That's what Who's Helping You Heal is about. And part of this mission is I cultivated that and went into the space. I had to gain education. I had to gain perspective and other knowledge and wisdom from folks so I could get into the space of truly healing. And while I'm saying that, because this is not about me at all, I'm saying that because it took someone to get me there, that structure I needed, that experience, right? And today I want to honor this person and invite this person to the room. And today we are honoring Mike James, Coach Mike James from ZLifeCaoching. Let me give it up for my man today. Thank you, brother, for being here today. Welcome to Black and Brown in the Woods. I know you and I collaborated on different things, but man, I so appreciate you being here today. And you know what today is about? It's about giving you flowers, sir. That's rightfully deserved for the things you've done, the people you impact, the community you hold, right? And I ain't just saying hold physically, you hold in your heart as well, right? So Mike James, Coach, welcome to Black and Brown in the Woods. Tell people a little bit about you real quick.
Oh man, thank you, man. That intro, I don't know, bro. I'm so simple and simplistic. I just felt like I was walking down the red carpet. This smile, it wasn't fake. I just felt so good, man. And just the culmination of things, man. Let me pause for the calls, man, and just say really, again, a big, huge shout out to CLCI, Certified Life Coach Institute, man, because with that, a team, I don't know if I've ever been on a professional team or with a company like that, where it's giving you a grounds to be who you truly are and to be able to share. So with the facilitators and the team that we have, man, it's just various backgrounds, and we're given this platform. We're sharing information and we're sharing our curriculum, but we're giving real life stuff on how it works for us, what hasn't worked, and all this. So I just want to say that, because had it not been for that, and not to say all that, because the universe, I just feel sometimes the universe would have brought us together anyway, bro. But it had it not been for that, man, in the class, man, don't know if we would be here, at least at this juncture in our lives. So just wanted to start with that. But yeah, man, I am a small town country boy from Phenix City by way of Fort Mitchell, Alabama. I'm the youngest of 11, born to the late great Prince and Izola James. And I say that I am the youngest of 2 Southern Pentecostal preachers who had one scripture in their Bible: be fruitful and multiply. And they obeyed. So they multiplied, man. So here I am, man. I'm just on a mission, man. My personal mission is just to share my light, love, and positivity with as many people as I can in the time and space that I have. So if I've said years ago, and I really did just like a comb through of everywhere I was and where I showed up, even like Facebook, because in college, man, fraternity, and I had many photos and stuff, either at a party with my shirt off or working out and stuff like that. And at some point I just like, it's got to be about light, love, and positivity. And that's one thing. I still do workout videos and all that stuff, but it's just stuff as simple as that. I was like, everything that I'm a part of and that I'm in, or that I'm going to surround myself with, it's got to fall in those 3 things in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And so, I'm thankful that right now everything that I'm doing helps me live out my mission. And so thank you, because even this opportunity is just another opportunity to do that, to share my light, love, and positivity. So I'm excited, bro. Thank you for having me. We've already kicked it and been in the space, so I'm just glad to be back and just spend some time and chop it up with you again.
Sure, Coach. One, thank you for sharing all that. I think a big part of Black and Brown in the Woods beyond the celebration of the person, right? And you shared it, big ups to Certified Life Coaching Institute, who supported me in my journey to connect me with Coach James and Coach Troy. So in saying that, each of these podcast episodes has a theme. And as I connected with you, brother, and we've gotten to know each other and recorded a few sessions with each other, you shared with me what P&Z life coaching means. So today, the theme of this episode is the roots of P&Z life coaching. And to me, that fits Coach so perfectly in his vision and why he implemented P&Z life coaching, why he heals people in his community, supports people. And I didn't say this because he obviously said it so well. But yes, beyond just being a trainer of Certified Life Coaching Institute, he is also a transformative life coach for adults and youth. Let me get that right. Let's hear that again. Adults and youth, and a lot of times when I meet coaches, they just live in the adult world. But Coach Mike James also coaches youth, which I love because throughout my career, I cultivated youth in different ways, whether mentorship or outdoor recreation. And I think that's a big part, beyond just what you provide in the training aspect, right? You walking what you talking. Right? Like you ain't just going to a training space and say, hey, you do this and do this. You could be this. Coach Mike James is actually role modeling that and showing that. The other piece is, as you can already tell, my man's a dynamic speaker, my bad. And, when I say that, he obviously has an energy that really captivates the people that he's speaking to. And I know that because I sat in his trainings. So, Black and Brown in the Woods has a tagline, as I mentioned, Coach, and that is going outside to heal inside. And a big part of that and the symbolism of Black and Brown in the Woods and why I created that and named it this is because throughout my career, I ran residential camps and I worked with Black and Brown youth. They would come to my camp for 2 weeks and I would see how the outdoors would truly heal them. Take them away, give them a pause to some of their circumstances, and you'll see the growth from 1 week to the second week. So that's why it was named that, and the symbolism for me in knowing that outdoors heals. I would love to hear your thoughts and how it resonates for you, Coach.
Yeah, there's a concept, right? And the origins of it, I'm not sure. I don't know African proverb, but the concept of as without, so within, right? And it's this idea where if what's going on inside is going to reflect outside, but bringing it back to what you're saying, times we get trapped by what's inside, right? And so now, how can you open yourself up to heal what's inside? Get outside, like get grounded, man. One of the biggest things for me, I went on a journey, a deep journey, man, 2015 to 2017, where it was just unlearning a lot and relearning. And part of that was daily being outside, getting sunshine, man. I was like, it's so many things I need to start back doing from that space of 2015 to 2017. But even just being grounded, being in my backyard in the grass, just no socks, just there. It's something about that where as long as you're in four walls, we talked about this, right? You're in that box, you're confined. And if you can't find peace within yourself, a lot of times you need to take off that cap that you're in, get outside, get with nature, just sit, be silent, not for a purpose of, I got to meditate, I got to do this. But when you get out, it's something about it that just opens you up to the world, to your world. It helps you connect to things that you haven't even thought about. So I think with that, man, the beautiful part about that is it's going to help you expand all these things where you feel trapped, where you feel stuck, where you feel lost. When you get out there in this vast world and you can look, I can look right now at my window and I can say, you know what? I don't know where that sky ends or where it begins. And just like that, I don't know where my potential ends or begins. I just need to be in action. So that's part of it, man. I think it's just really about opening yourself up. People say open mind, open mind, open mind. Have an open mind, open mind. And you can ask that question. When's the last time you just went out? breathe. You know, a lot of times I'll say, just walk around your neighborhood. And even when I'm talking about exercise, I say, listen, just walk around the block. You know, walk to the end of your street and back, and just see how you feel when you get back. You know, when you finish that. So I think it's important, man, that we really go outside to heal and to help what's going on within. And until we do that, I feel like we're robbing ourselves of a true joy and connection that we didn't even know existed. So yeah, get outside, man. Get out. And not just the physical outside, but out of your comfort zone too, right? Make connections. Right. You know, the next time you see somebody and we have these gut instincts, something tells us, say something to that person, or that's somebody important or whatever, and we ignore it. The next time that happens, for all those listening, just try it on for size and say, hey, I'm Mike James. Something told me to speak to you, and you never know what'll happen, you know? So just, get outside, man. It just made me think of a previous conversation we had, getting out the box. And it's kind of parallel to that. Get out to help heal what's within.
You know, I love what you know, it's the little steps, of going outside. Because, sometimes I'm an avid hiker, as I shared with you. And so, 5 miles that's my groove, right? That's, but going outside, it's the little steps. Like you said, walk around your neighborhood, take in your neighborhood. And I love that you said that, because I feel like, as I ask this question to many folks, that is the answer I've been receiving. Like, man, walk around your neighborhood. Just the little small steps to get out there, because you are going to discover things that you might not discover while you're sitting in your box or your house or your gym or wherever you're else at. Thank you, brother. I love how you shared that and what you gave us in that. Because I think a big part of that tagline in Black and Brown in the Woods and celebrating our Black and Brown creators, leaders, spirits, people who just provide impact for the community and just individuals in general. I think it all goes back to healing for me, right? And as I asked the question, who's helping you heal? Going outside to heal outside is something I'm always advocate for. So thank you for sharing your thoughts on that one. We got top 5 questions for you, sir. And
yes, sir.
As I thought about these top 5 questions, I took my time with them, because I didn't send them to you for a minute there. And it was because I really did take my time with them. I really was, the last question is obvious, right? But, the 4 I took my time with, and I really connected them to you, the person that I know, and the pieces that I want people to get to know about Coach Mike James and the work that he does, because beyond the work that we all do of helping individuals and human beings in general, right? We're also human beings. And I want to spotlight that for many folks to see that, even though we provide support and help for others, doesn't mean that we don't need it too, right? And I think a big part of that is allowing people to engage and see Coach Mike James in a different space with some different questions. So we're going to start this top 5 questions for Black and Brown in the Woods episode, The Roots of P and Z Life Coaching with Coach Mike James. So my first question today, sir, for this podcast episode, what sparked your passion for helping people, humans, navigate the incredible journey of what we call life?
Yeah, I love that. First, let me just go back a little bit to say, man, I told you this before we started, like, those questions, they definitely hit home, like knocked out the park. And I know you took time on it, because even when I read it, just the first one, I'm like, you would think we had a conversation and I gave you what to, a lot of times people think that when you hear an interview or something, oh yeah, they told them what to ask. And, sometimes celebrities don't ask this or do that. But I read them, I'm like, dang. So what inspired me, man? I have a Bachelor of Science in fitness leadership, exercise science, and health and fitness has always been a passion for me. Being an athlete when I was younger in high school, doing all intramural sports and intramural supervisor. I played every intramural sport there is. And then I became an intramural supervisor. Love sports activities. And I went into training. I went into training full time. I started training in college, went into full time after I graduated. And so 13 to 14 years full time. And I used to say 15 years because I'm still active, but before I really branched out. I remember in all those years, bro, every time I work with someone, I can almost write their names down over the years where they walk in the gym, walk in the workout space, and I make eye contact with them. And it's that look of like, not today, coach. Don't start your, I ain't feeling, and I see it on their face. And I pull them to the side or I say, let's walk outside real quick and let's go over here to the stretch room, the warm up room. What's going on? And every single one of those people, it's almost like they breathe, they exhale, like, wow, and have a conversation. Some of them, the whole workout session was just about that. And later they would tell me, man, Mike, thank you so much. You're the first person to see all that weight I was carrying. So I started to think about that. And I really thought, how can I help people beyond the physical? Like I can yell at you and tell you do this and don't do that. And let's 5 more and all this, your exercise program and all this stuff. But what is it that's keeping you from not getting to where you want to be? What is it that's keeping you from having issues with exercise or a healthy relationship with food or whatever that may be? And beyond the physical is what I realized, okay, Mike, it's something more. I started doing research and everything. Even at that point, I still didn't even know what life coaching was. Like, okay, I've been a speaker since high school. I've always been a speaker. That's just been something that's in me. I hosted events at my college, step shows, all kind of things. And so that was there, the other part of what I do. But the coaching, I didn't know. I started doing research and man, when I figured it out, I was like, whoa, so I can do this now. Like you said, you have to get educated and get some training on how to do it because you know naturally what you think and what you feel it should be. So for me, I'm like, hey, cool, I can help people. I can help people and get paid to do what I love to do and what I've been doing all my life. Ever since I was a little boy, people were coming to me asking me about their problems. I'm like, man, I'm 7. Why are you asking me? So that was the inspiration behind it, man, helping people in a full, and now I relate it back to a full wellness approach. You know what I mean? Your mind, your heart, your soul, your physical, all of this stuff. If you know what to do, and you mentioned Troy, shout out to Troy. I share this in all my classes, and I always say, Troy, one of our other facilitators says, if it was just about information, we all have Google. We all have YouTube University. If it was just about the information, but it's what is keeping you from doing what you know to do, or at least closing the gap from where you are right now and where you want to be. And that's what inspired me to be in this space to help people navigate this thing we call life, man. That's a journey. And I love the ebbs and flow and going on this journey with people, man. It makes it worthwhile for me to do what I do. So I shared my personal mission, my professional mission, man, is just to partner with those who feel lost or stuck somehow in life, help them unlock their power, tap into their power, and achieve greatness, welcome that better version of themselves. And ultimately, I'm the 5 C's coach. I want them to gain their 5 C's. I want them capable, competent, confident, conscious, and courageous to achieve greatness. And what I do in my career has helped me to do that, man. So I love it.
I love how the initial start, you mentioned like the training aspect of the physical, right? The body, and a calling almost of like, and not almost, it sounds like a very strong calling of recognizing that the body needs work, right? Physically, people
Absolutely.
need help with that. But then there's the full picture, right? There's the full picture of the, beyond the body, the mind, the brain, the heart, right? Everything that goes with that. And this calling that sounds so magnetic that inspired you to say, all right, I do this in this physical space. And it obviously brought you joy because you still do it, right, coach? But then this calling was like, hey, no, you can do this physical space, but then there's this whole other space that your gifts can resonate for each individual as you touch them or speak to them, right? I love how you put that together because, right, every person's coaching journey is different. And you mentioned, like, I didn't even know what, like, a life coach was, or, like, didn't know much about it. And you're right, because as I navigated in my own way, I didn't either. And it's funny how as we navigated in our own individual journeys, how we connect to it. And I love that although there was a second connection to your initial connection of coaching, it sounds like it was already resonated in there. It sounds like while you were doing that physical coaching, right? Like that trainer coaching,
Indeed.
you were actually coaching in that space. I'm sure you were
Absolutely.
giving them the gems, planting the seeds, and giving them the information they needed beyond just the physical component because it's just the person you are, right?
Bro, to this day, I have clients that reach out to me. I had a client, I'm an Ohio State fan, and of course, the national championship was Monday night, this past Monday night. And I had a client reach out to me. She's from Ohio State fan. She's to this day, I have clients that I may run into in public, or they reach out to me or email me just to check on me. And they don't talk about exercise. They'll tell me, I remember you told me this, or I remember you asked me this question. So, like you said, we talked about this, right? I just needed structure. I didn't realize I was already doing it. When I was looking at you walking the door and realizing you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders right now, and I asked you what's happening, maybe I'm the first person to give you that space. I was coaching. I just didn't know what I was doing then. And so now it just, as a life coach and doing it now for a profession, it really just ignited all of that passion that was already inside. So absolutely, man. I just had to say that because I still have clients and youth that I work with and training that say, man, Coach Mike, I remember when you told me this, or I remember you asked me that question. I still be asking other people that. So yeah, absolutely.
Sure, it obviously happened because I mean, you even mentioned that you were doing it at 7, right? People were coming to you to help troubleshoot things at age 7, and that right there just speaks to the cultivation, right? That although at 7, not having the capacity to take on all troubleshooting, right, but still the aura, the energy, the thing that someone, that magnetic pull that someone felt that from you, right? And it sounds like all your clients, whether in the training of the physical space or just transformative space, like you're providing that in all its goodness. So big ups to you, brother. That was the first
Thank you.
question. Thank you for sharing some of those thoughts. And yeah, I think a big part of I've heard you share many times, a couple times in the sense of like your why. And the reason why I kind of, shifted this question a little differently is that connecting piece of where it starts to where it connects. So thank you for that. Our next question here, it's all about the theme. So with this one, the theme for this episode is the roots of P&Z. This phrase prompts us to consider the foundational influences behind P&Z. What individuals, events, or ideologies do you identify as the key origins of P&Z?
Yeah, man. And that question right there, that's the unplug, wrap up the wires, we're done. Like when I read that, I was like, that's it in a nutshell, man. P&Z. So I share this with people. It's on my website. Every opportunity I have where I go, I tell this and I share this with my family. My 8 siblings that are still here. P&Z, it's a family business. If I never grow to hiring a family member, if I never grow to hire employees, all this stuff, it's a family business because every time I step out, I'm representing it, right? I'm representing that. So P&Z, it stands for Prince and Zola. My dad is the late, great Prince James Jr. My mom is the late, great Izola Edmonds James. And by her siblings and immediate family, she was known as Zola. That's what they called her, Zola. So that was the inspiration when I was starting out, being a speaker, being a coach. I kind of knew everything I'm doing now. I knew I wanted to do it from the start. YouTube and all this stuff, and be a creator and be in front of people. And so people, I remember being in a training. I won't call the name because I don't know how those things go, but a speaker academy. And I spoke and he asked me, he said, why did you choose that name? Why not go with just Mike James or your name? Right. Mm-hmm. And I shared it. And it's about 60 to 70 attendees. I shared it, man. And it's like some water faucets turning on in the eyes. And he looked and he said, brother, he said, bless you, man. hey, when he said, just make sure you always share that story. And I said, no doubt. That's why I do it. And so Prince and Zola, it gives me an opportunity to really always be appreciative of my roots and where I started, which is also when I do my introductions, I say I'm from Phenix City by way of Fort Mitchell. I want people to know. I could easily say I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, right? Artists and stuff like that. They claim the biggest city where they've been. No, I say Phenix City by way of Fort Mitchell because that's me. That is the foundational part of what gave me who I am. I say that I feel being the youngest of all my siblings, I got a little sprinkle, a little salt and pepper from each and every one of them. And especially the roots started from my parents and what they've instilled in us. And though I don't always align with all the things that we were taught or indoctrinated or any of that, I appreciate it all. And it brought me to the person I am today, this full, whole, unapologetic and authentic me that helps me to do what I do. And so that's the foundation, man, that keeps me going. And I always say, no matter what I do, this is always going to be a family business, a family endeavor, because the ultimate goal is I want to continue to make Prince and Zola proud, and also to let the younger ones after me, my nephews and nieces and godchildren and my siblings know that, hey, this can be done. You can live a life that you want, and it doesn't have to be the confines of what the world tells you need to do in the box, right? So that's it, man. That's the whole, I guess, quintessential part of what I do.
No, first, Prince and Zola, just two beautiful names, powerful as well, right? So I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
And obviously, you come from a big family. 11 children, and that's beautiful because you don't see it much anymore in this newer generation, right? But part of that, and you said you were the youngest, right, Coach?
Right.
I'm the youngest as well, Coach. I know how that is, but I'm only the youngest to like 3, right? And what you said, and what I love about that, because I do believe life is an opportunity of like dipping into different people you meet, and especially if they resonate with you and they impact you, you take a piece of them, right? And some of those bigger pieces you take in the front parts of your life is with the people you live with, your family, right? And the people in your household that, you really, whether good or bad, some of the things you don't like, you don't take, right? I guess coming up in that and Prince and Zola's raising of you and all your siblings, I guess, what did that mean for you coming up as the youngest, right? Being the youngest. And sometimes I feel like the oldest, middle, and the youngest have different roles and responsibilities in the family. What did that mean for you being the youngest out of all, taking all that great energy in? But then on the responsibility side of things, what did that represent for you?
Oh man. Oh, that's beautiful. Number one, it's two different perspectives. So from a sibling perspective, you debate, man, sit down, shut up, get out the way. I always explain this because it's pivotal in who I am today as well. My closest brother to me is 8 years older. And it's a lot of stair step along the way. So I got a brother 8 years, 9 years, 10 years older. But it's 2 sisters that's closest to me in age. So really kind of the nurturing part of my childhood, growing up the longest with them, right? And so that adds a different wrinkle as well. My dad, again, a preacher and working still for years until he finally retired a few years before he transitioned at the paper mill. So my dad was just a Southern working man, my mom, a nurturing mom, and even both my parents didn't finish high school, man. So that goes back to it as well. My dad was able to work full time and all that stuff from a different generation. My mom and dad were in their 40s when they had me, and they were born in the 30s and 40s. So I'm talking about old school, traditional. My mom went back, got her GED, got a nursing degree. So for me, from my siblings, it was, hey man, sit down, shut up, which it trained me and I didn't even know it. For my parents, it's do. Go. I see a gift in you that I didn't even know about. I can remember this, man. I grown up in church. My mom I grew up playing the drums and the organ, piano, all that stuff in church. And drums, 4 years old. I claim that as my gift, my talent. When I was I guess maybe I had to be around 9 or 10. I used to peck around at the piano and stuff. And I remember my mom, it was doing a church service, and she called me out. In Southern Pentecostal, when you called out during a service, man, you in trouble. It's on and popping because you got caught chewing gum or you talking, so you finna be brought up to the front, as we call it, the pulpit. You in trouble. And she called me, sat up. I'm sitting by the drums, whatever. She said, get on the organ. Get on the organ. Like, wow. They prayed for me and all this stuff. And they said, go. That's how that started. So people, again, saw gifts in me. And to round that up, that bottling up of stay out the way, you the baby, that worked in my favor too. Because I always tell people this. I had older brothers that were years older than me. By the time I got to middle school, my oldest brother, who's transitioned as well, he was Prince James III. He was my godfather, bodybuilder, like a beast. When I talk about a foundation and we're talking about a tree and like, man, so much of that influence was in me. By the time I got to middle school, bro, none of my brothers could handle me anymore. Serious, these are now adults or in high school and adults. By the time I got to middle school, I started working out like 6th grade and all this stuff. And then my mom transitioned when I was 11. So that made me go harder into like physical, wanting to do sports and stuff. And so by the time I got maybe 8th grade, especially by high school, 9th grade, I was it. That's the stuff. I had to fend for myself. So all of that, again, to go back and bring that forward from the question, that responsibility and the role for me was tapping into that power that I have. So now when I talk about my professional mission as a coach, it's doing what I learned to do and I didn't even know it. So unlocking a power that you have in you and tapping into that to bring you to the fullness of who you are. So I've been training to be this Mike since I came out the womb. And just one little story that my parents and my siblings call me baby boy man, because when I was younger, I early as I can remember, I was maybe 3-4 years old. They said baby, they said the baby boy, and it's like the baby, and I said I ain't no baby, I'm a baby boy man, and so it stuck. So even for my 40th last year birthday, it was like that was like on the shirts, baby boy man, and it was shirts with my face on it, So yeah, man, that's really how that worked, man. And it was never a dull moment being from a large family like that. And it really taught you responsibilities and how to deal with stuff and hardships as well, because the blessing and the curse of being from a large family is not just immediate family, extended too, aunts, uncles, cousins. You see a lot of loss, a lot of loss of life. And being that I was so young, that right there, it strengthened me to be this person that I am today, and to have that resilience, and stick to itiveness to keep going. But again, all the stuff that my sayings and quotes, they come from a place of really living it. So when I say keep going, keep grinding, keep showing, keep shining, that's my life. I live that.
Boy, man, I love that, man. I had to laugh at that and put myself on mute because I love that. It's cool how as you were speaking, I'm a visual person. You know that. I just visualizing and being in your crib, in that house with all your siblings and, the different gifts that you're receiving from each individual. It's such a beautiful blessing, when even in those, because sometimes you can think those age gaps can really not benefit the sibling relationship. But there is a pour into each other with some of those gaps, and I think it falls into the right place. Some of my kids are like 7 years apart. I have 3 sons; they're 7 years apart from each other. So I was a little worried about that gap, but I feel like they fill it in some way, and And I think the beauty of what you're sharing there and everything you kind of opened up to, and you answered my next question. So it was all about like foundational elements and how they continue to motivate you. And I feel like you already answered that, Coach, in so many ways, man. So I'm gonna do a little trick play here and maybe ask you a different question. I guess knowing Prince and Zola and everything they instilled in you, your siblings, the things that they provided for you, the inspiring piece of education and moving forward and just conquering things. I think that's so beautiful, man. And when you're sharing that, I'm like, man, the roots of PNZ Life Coaching, that thing keeps popping up in my spirit about what you're sharing, and thinking of them. So here, just quick one, I guess knowing Prince and Zola and what you're doing in the spirit of naming your company after them and the inspiration, if you don't mind sharing, what is something from both of them that you miss, right? Like, knowing that they're not here, you honor them and you give them that spirit. And, are there, what I know there are things, but what is some things you would like to share that you maybe miss that still resonate and maybe implement in your work that you do?
Yeah, two things, man. I'll say this, two things. Two of my principles for my business when I did my branding playbook some years back is integrity across all platforms, high energy presentation, those two things. So two things that I get from both my mom and dad, two different people, but both Southern country people, just deep roots. We talk about roots, right? Deep roots and just the feeling. Number one, extreme people. Sometimes it was a nightmare to just go to the grocery store with Prince or Zola because we like, can we go home? And every single person, how you doing? How so-and-so doing this and that? I'm like, damn, do we know everybody? And never meet a stranger. This idea I joke about Encyclopedia Britannica in certain quotes and stuff. I say this person's face is by this word. If you open up the Encyclopedia Britannica and you look at the quote of never meets a stranger, you will see Prince and Izola. Seriously, man, the gas station, they revel in just anybody. No matter your status, your level, whatever, they were just themselves. So that's the first thing, man, really just being a people person. And that's what I'm passionate about. Real quick to tie this in, I tell people, don't just stress yourself over and over again trying to figure out your purpose. Find your passion, because your passion will ping you to your purpose. And when I realized years ago that my passion is people, that right there was like, okay, now you know how to live. Give, pour into people, connect with people, and you'll never feel like you're lost in your life. That came from Prince and Zola. The other thing is this: it's your connection to the source. Now, the way I was taught and the way I was indoctrinated and brought up, it's just God, and it's drilled in. But your connection with God, where now I say, tap into your energy, your inner God. That also comes from the roots of Prince and Zola, instilling that connection and that relationship, not just the formalities of it and what it looks like on the outside, because a tree is known by the fruit it bears. It was about the connection and relationship. So those two things, man, really is from both of them. It's your connection. It's your connection to your source and people, pouring into people. And that really is the foundation of everything else, man. And it branches out into all the other parts of who I am today.
I appreciate that, man. It sounds like, from what you're sharing and the giggles I'm getting and the visuals, man, just the fact that Prince and Zola, they just sound like amazing individuals, and
Oh, yeah.
and the cloth that you came from, right? Man, you're illuminating that in so many ways, Coach. So thank you for sharing that, man. We got 3 more questions, and we're gonna wind it down here. But this third question is all about community, Coach, and I know you're about community. So the question goes: community plays a crucial role in the essence of Black and Brown in the Woods. I'd love to hear your thoughts on why community matters to you and how it has shaped your identity. What benefits have you gained from being part of your community?
Yeah. In short, I'll tie that back to what I talk about your web, check your web. And I love it because so much of what we're talking about, and even the questions, man, is, and I'm looking at right now, even your hoodie, nothing happens in a vacuum, man, in the mind, in this tree, right? And everything, so it's intertwined. So I always say your web, not just your circle. I feel like in different phases in life, you have different communities. And if you're able to see what you've gotten from them, I think that's what makes you. That's where community has helped me. All the seeds that were planted, my community and communities in plural have watered so many seeds, right? That's why I started at the top. CLCI is a community for me. My fraternity is a community for me, right? Health and fitness is a community for me. When I rode motorcycles, that was a community for me that I still keep in touch with people this day. And I ain't sat on a bike in years, right? So communities, by and large, I feel if you're in the right community, you'll never stop growing, because the right community should help you feel nourished, should help you feel watered, should help you feel the opposite of empty, like you're getting something. So I feel community is so important, because if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. You can grow, you can get further places when you rely and tap into your community. And that's something that I said in 2025. Of course, my green screen is up, but I got a whiteboard in my office behind me, and I always put my dub of the year. And for 2025, it's simple. I've seen it 20 times by 30 different people, but thrive in 25. I want to thrive. And one way I'm going to make sure I do that is tapping back into my community. I'm like, I got to network more. I got to do more stuff. This right here, this connection, man. When you said that, I was like, how did Adam know that was a goal for me anyway, to tap into partnerships and networking? So that's it, man. Community is so important to water those seeds.
Well, Coach, you're so right, man. When you have the right community, your growth doesn't stop. It just continue evolve like a champ. And that's the beauty of the right community, man. I appreciate you sharing that. This next question is really connected. It's the end round question of the theme, right? The roots of P and Z life coaching. And this next question is all about roots in so many ways. So, Coach, the question goes, imagine your tree as a vibrant symbol of life. If the fruit it bears represents the gifts you share with the world, what lies beneath the surface as your root? What foundational beliefs or experiences nourish your giving spirit?
Oh man, the roots, man. Listen, family and what that means to you, and tapping into that. And I'm not talking about just your maternal, paternal family. I mean family. When you really think about what that word means for you, right? Asking yourself the question of what is your why? Why is this important? And I'm talking about everything. I'm just talking life in general. And then what I was just talking about, really finding in your life, what is your passion? What are you passionate about? So I would hope that the fruits for me from my tree that comes from the roots that's been instilled is giving people an opportunity to know that it is possible, right? Giving people an opportunity to know that it is possible. Another one is being able to be free. I say this so often because it's so real. To be authentic and unapologetically you is a power in and of itself. That's like a superpower, man. And so my energy and the way I, my corniness with my jokes sometimes and the things I do, I want people to see that in my youth as well. Like I will sometimes make a fool of myself in front of a youth presentation, and I'll do a dance on purpose wrong. I know I stay abreast to the culture. So I know how to do the TikTok dances, but I'll do it wrong on purpose just to get a reaction from them. So I can say, let me talk about that. Y'all know how y'all was roasting me for how I did, how I did that dance of this. Yeah. Guess what? How many times you felt like the way you wore this outfit, the way you did that, somebody was judging you? How many times you felt like as you scroll, everybody's doing better than you? And so everything I do strategically, right, is part of that. And it's so crazy you say that. And I didn't even think about the full breadth of that question, because I say this all the time. A tree is known by the fruit it bears. So check your fruit. Check your fruit. So for me, man, I hope that it is really all about seeing what you're passionate about. What does family mean to you, and remembering your why and making sure that you're checking into that. And from that, I hope that anybody that ever walks by my tree and even can smell a whiff of my tree, man, and the roots, I hope that they get energy and refreshed and recharged to tackle life and to just have that moment of like, I just encountered an amazing energy. Even if they didn't know I was there, like something, I don't know what was in that room. That's what I inspire. That's what I aspire and inspire to be.
I love that, Coach. And as someone who has been a recipient of the fruit you bear, right? Speaking as a walking example, I know what I gained from you, as I mentioned in the beginning of this a little bit, like the knowledge, the structure. But immediately, I think as someone who loves education, but probably isn't always the first to jump to it, I think entering a space of already not knowing sure what you're going to do with it, and then your energy coming into that space, whether it was the smile, whether it was the tempo you kept, whether it was the voice pitch, because sometimes the pitch can go low, sometimes the pitch can go high. I say all this because, I feel like as you were sharing, your why and the things and the webs and those pieces and the things like that I know is your language and know is a big part of your brand. I say to that, man, as a person who received those things, I am so appreciative and have so much gratitude for you, for the things you bring, not only in the space of education, but also inspiration, right? As we learn and we grow, we inspire and we inspire others, but we also get inspired. Right. And you are one of my inspirations in the movement of coaching and your activity. So if you haven't checked out his spaces, his YouTube spaces, his social media platforms, you need to check them out, which I'll be providing all the links and all that good stuff. Moving to the big matter of going outside to heal inside, Coach, and the movement that that I'm pushing of who's helping you heal, asking the real question of a simple question to promote conversations as opposed to having things going on in your life in silence. So me knowing that part of this podcast and things that we do in this space, as much as it's about to get to knowing you as the person and hearing things via the questions, I also want to know, man, you're being taken care of, right? Like you got support as well. So my last question for you, Coach Mike James from ZLifeCaoching, is who's helping you heal?
I love it. I thought about this one, man, because if I'm kicking it with Mr. Adam, you got to think about who's helping you heal. And so I thought about this. And before you sent me the questions, I was like I think the first time when we talked and you told me that when we first got on a Zoom, to connect, I was like, oh, that's so beautiful. So I'm going to say this, and I really want everybody to hear it and take it well. Bro, there's something that I guess I thought about and was introduced. I never thought about in my 40 plus years of life. This word of, I started seeing people and influencers and content creators say, don't be humble. Don't be humble. And again, I'm Southern. I grew up Southern Pentecostal. What you mean? You trying to talk against the Beatitudes? Don't be humble. And somebody posed a question one time. I think I may have saw this on TikTok. They said, have you looked up the definition of humble? And they shared it on the screen. And part of the definition of humble is thinking lowly of oneself. And so when I say that, I don't want to be humble. I want to be grounded. And so the first way I'm going to answer that, who's helping me heal, is me, because I have the ultimate ability to respond to the situations and circumstances that happen in my life. So that's number one. I'm helping me heal because it's an active thing. To heal, you got to be willing. You got to be willing to go in the dark spaces that sometimes you back off when you feel the resistance, when you feel the push, when you feel, okay, this is getting uncomfortable. You power, or you go into the space where it's like, push through. And when you get that resistance that you know what's coming, you back off. And so to be able to push forward, you have to be willing. So number one. Number two, this recurring thing, what I've been talking about, my web. There are people and friends that I love like a brother, like a sister, that have been there in ways they didn't even realize. And I hear this theme, and you see it on social media a lot. Check on your strong friends. And there are certain people that they check on me when I didn't even know I needed, because I'm motivating and inspiring people and doing all this. And every now and again I get a text, how you feeling, coach? Whoa, how I need it? How you feeling today? So I would say my web. And the other thing, this is not a who as much as it is a what, but it's the activities that I allow myself to be involved in. I started back reading the last quarter of 2024, bro. And it's helped me feel more connected and like, wow. And this is a plug really, but it's their social media movement is I don't know who needs to hear this. It's Willie Green and that movement, but that book, I don't know who needs to hear this. And I got that, man, and I just been buying it and send it to people because I'm reading it, and it's just created this whole world, like you said, visual. I'm just seeing myself in this book, and it's just every page flip, the affirmations. And I knew it because following them on Instagram and stuff, I shared a lot of times in my story. And so that right there, man, has been so incredible. So again, to just summarize that again, number one, myself, because I know I have a responsibility to help myself heal. Number two, my web, those people who I love, those in my circle that are always there. And it's not an attachment. They're just there. And then number three, it's kind of a who for me, but my activities, the gym, man, is my safe space, reading, getting back out in nature. I started back that's why I say it, because I'm living it, walking around the block. It's just my block, man, is just short. And sometimes the whole neighborhood. So in totality, who's helping me heal? Again, it's coming from making that choice, the people that's in my web, and leaning on them. It's okay to not be okay. Lean on the people that you love, that love you. And that's another thing that took me years to get to that space of doing. And that is how I would answer that, man, of who's helping me heal.
Well, one, I appreciate that, right? It's a question that I ask many people beyond just the podcast session. And I love that you started with you. I am a big believer that the foundation of healing is you. It does start with you, because if you are not willing to heal, you can have a gang of people coming to you like, I can heal you all day, but if you ain't ready for it, right, it ain't going nowhere. It stays in a stagnant space. So I'm grateful that not only do you have you, I know you have others that you didn't mention. I know you have others, but the gym, right? That being that escapism for you, that connection to give you that healing you need, and whatever that may be for you, right? In that space that you're doing it. And a big part of this, Coach, we're at the end of our show here, and a big part of this was to give you flowers, man. And that's what it's all about. Giving you flowers as an individual who does transformative coaching for youth and adults, giving you flowers for training an abundance of people who are either restarting their career, retiring and trying to do something different, or they're stagnant and they're like, let me just get another certification to see if this triggers something, right? Either way, you've been providing impact, inspiration, motivation, knowledge, wisdom, laughs. You've been providing that for people. And damn right, you need those flowers. So today, sir, giving you those flowers, I'm going to give it up. I'm going to give you that circle clap. I got to mail you something. I'm probably going to give you one of those Who's Helping You Heal things just to honor you for what you do. But, sir, you know this, man. I appreciate you beyond just jumping on this podcast with me. I appreciate the impact you provide for others. And because you know that my intentions of healing and all the work I do, and the name of this podcast starts with Black and Brown, our people, I appreciate everything you do for our people, sir. And that is real talk. So thank you. I'm going to put all information for Coach Mike James in descriptions. I'm going to give you all his tangible resources. Please connect with this brother, right? And I say this, I am a coach myself, and coaches all have different expertise. And Coach Mike James provides amazing services. So please connect with him. I'll provide the links and descriptions. And remember to like and subscribe. We do one a month. Black and Brown in the Woods podcast is one a month. And next month, you're going to see who it is. This month, it is all about, February month is all about the roots of PNC Life Coaching and Coach Mike James. You're going to see him all month for my platform. So please check it out. Other than that, you know the last words here is who's helping you heal. Peace.